our consent agenda items during the committee of the whole meeting. We'll jump, let's get through the traffic control orders that we have, and then we'll cover the road maintenance bid process as well. So that being said, let's jump to the traffic controls, the TCO order. 1, 2, 3, there's 5 different ones. One that definitely is the Bristol and Waldorf one has probably been the highest profile one. I know Commissioner Kent, you have talked about that one for years, and I believe that one from a southbound traffic will help mitigate the speeding challenges we've had there over the years, with the stop signs becoming permanent there. So we have a number of different ones here, and Scott, I don't know if there's anything further you want to touch on these.
I think they're all pretty self-explanatory. The Bristol one is really why I'm here, just in case there's questions or folks that show up at the 7 o'clock hour.
Okay. Okay. All right, we'll sit tight. Any commissioners' questions? And by the way, before I forget, our new communications manager is in the audience. Nicole, welcome. You get to see all the commissioners. So she's had a long day today. We started her early today, so welcome. So commissioners, any questions for Scott on any of these 5?
I'd just like to say, that putting in stops there may be some that are not happy with it, but it's like having a roundabout and then having minor accidents versus major accidents. And you might have a major accident every 3 years, but not 3 in 1 year. So we got to look for the safety of the motoring public, and I really think that's what we're going to gain here with that. Thank you.
Anything else, commissioners? All right. Let's jump to the paving and the 3 bids that had come in. Road overlays. Gary, I'll turn it over to you if that's all right.
Well, we went out to bid for the overlay project for this year, and Michigan Paving Materials was low on that bid, so I would recommend going for that. As you can see, the bid was a little over our budget, so I did trim it down to be within the budget, which eliminated basically 1 major street and 2 local streets out of the budget. So I gave you that list that's in there, and that was the list of what we plan on doing, most of that yet this fall, and then finish it up in the springtime before the end of the budget.
All right. Commissioners, questions, comments? Anything?
Yeah, I was just curious, what work have we done with Michigan Paving in the past?
We've had our contract for the last 2 years.
Okay.
And actually, all 3 we've used over the years.
Yep.
With no issues that I can remember of the 3. That's a good question. Fair question.
Riley has done pass in the park here. Superior Asphalt, the last project I can remember was Remembrance, by the car wash, that lighting project there. So,
And usually we see too that top one that comes in usually is high enough that they're up to their eyeballs in work right now, and they can afford to bid that one higher.
yeah, Michigan Paving has some openings, they said, in October, so
Yep.
a lot of that work done in October.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Road street overlay program. All right. While we're rolling here, then, Frank, if we could, let's jump into the rezoning and the PSAP. Northridge.
Okay, well, good evening. Steve, get situated. Hey, thank you. Please catch his breath. Okay, I sent this presentation out earlier today. Made a couple of minor tweaks, but otherwise this is essentially a setup that we presented to the Planning Commission on the 2nd of September. And the Planning Commission's job is a little bit more expansive than the City Commission when it comes to a plan unit development. Their job is to review what's called a preliminary area site plan and then make a recommendation on the rezoning that is requested. In this case, it's multiple rezonings to the City Commission. The City Commission is a legislative body, makes the final decision on all rezonings. If the rezoning is approved, then these folks will be able to come back to the Planning Commission with what's called a final area. I'm gonna let Steve fill in a lot of the details from the planning commission, and we have the developers team here as well. So my job tonight is really to give you kind of an orientation to the site and a little bit of history, and then take a look at traffic planning, which is really the most significant issue in this area. So this project includes a rezoning and an amendment to the original EASP, which is the Vista development. The part of town we're in is the northwest part of the city. The location is Hendershot and Foreman. So if you've noticed over the years, across the street from the high school, Kent County Road Commission has put in a traffic signal. It's only 3 lanes at this point, but this project will make it a 4-lane signal. There's a bunch of traffic things that we'll look at in a second. But the property is located south of the intersection of Foreman and Hendershot. It's in the process of having the road constructed through the middle of it. The easterly half is being done by Vista Development, and the westerly half is being done by the city through the Schwalbe property. Remember that name, the SAD went through over this past winter. The gray on the map is industrial zoning, and the green is agricultural zoning. So if you take a close look at the inset map in the lower right, where those stars are, those red stars, are the areas in the parcels that are being requested to be rezoned to industrial PUD. So the PUD is proposed to expand to include that green area with stars on it, and then that would enable phase 1 of this project, which we'll look at in a second. So is everyone comfortable with where we're at in the city? This is just a snapshot from your draft master plan, and it shows you how the parcels have been reconfigured here by Vista Development as they purchased them. So this gives you kind of a snapshot of the whole northwest area. The area that has the yellow ellipse through it towards the top of the map, those are the areas that are being proposed for rezoning. So the takeaway point from this is, as presented in your draft master plan, which is getting very close to being approved, these properties are planned for industrial development, but not just industrial development, IPUD, so that we have more control and design flexibility through the planning and development process. The challenge is, just like for the easterly edge of Northridge, between Walker and Bristol, this is an area that has historically been agricultural, and it's going to be a big shift, right? You're going to go from farm to significant industrial development. So, like Walkerview, what we've tried to do is get the infrastructure right. And that's what Steve and the developer can talk about, and Scott as well. We talk about infrastructure planning so that the pieces are in place before you get busy. And a good example of that is all of the changes made to the intersection of Northridge and Walker, except for a very minor time of peak. You drive through that intersection now and you say, wow, this is really overbuilt. Well, it's not. It's built for the next 20 years. So we try to get ahead of it so that you're growing into the infrastructure as opposed to the reverse, which tends to lead to a whole bunch of problems. So there's a good picture of the master plan. This is the original preliminary area site plan that the Planning Commission approved 1819, right at the change of the year. So we're still Northridge being planned through this site with a couple of spurs off to the north and south, and then industrial buildings in the middle. And this is the amended plan that Planning Commission just amended on the 2nd of this month. And you see the northerly edge, if you can see that pointer on there. You see phase 1 now has shifted to the north, and that is the intersection of Hendershot and 4 Mile. And Hendershot would actually be built as a public street to connect into Northridge. So we can talk about that. And then eventually, as you go phase down towards the train tracks and then adjacent to I-96, there'll be another stub street that will provide frontage on the other side of the railroad tracks, which really is prime development frontage because it's right along I-96. And this picture also gives you the feel for Northridge, how it's being constructed. So soon you will have a patent Northridge from Fruit Ridge all the way through to Bristol. And then you have improvements made at 4 Mile and Bristol and 4-mile cornice that sets you up for the last piece of that puzzle, which is really the English Hills property. Okay, last thing I'll talk about is traffic planning, and there, folks in the room who know more than I do, so I'll give you the planner's take on this. You can see the traffic signals that are already in place through this whole area. Fruit Ridge is on the west end of the map, and Walker's on the east edge of the map. See North Ridge, that's been a long, long cul-de-sac for quite some time. The red dotted stretch of North Ridge Drive is under construction right now. The yellow line would be Hendershot extended, and then the signal would go from 3 lanes to 4 lanes. That's part of this project and the rezonings. And then the last critical piece becomes that signal at North Ridge and Fruit Ridge with the red dashed line around it. And that's something, if you remember a few years back, we worked with Irwin Seating on an MEDC grant to get that intersection ready for the signal. They paid for everything except for the signal itself. So the developer is on the line for a development agreement to pay for a quarter of that signal cost. But that's something that's going to be an issue as we start to develop the new budget, because that thing should really go in 2021. And with mast arms and what have you, that will be a significant cost that we're going to have to prioritize, or it'll be up to you folks, how you want to handle that. But I think even though the traffic study is kind of on the fence about the need for it, generally speaking, if you've been around land use planning, you understand that you need the signals at the major intersections, particularly Fruit Ridge, which is high speed. So we're trying to plan this whole thing and get it kind of templated in, and then the rest will be essentially plug and play as these individual projects come through, similar to Walker did. So I will get out of the way, and let's see the developer and Scott to guide you through the rest of the discussion.
Right?
Yes.
The previous slide and this slide, the dotted yellow line on this slide,
Yes.
and you go back to the previous slide, is that East Valley Drive?
It was going to be called East Valley Drive, but as this, and we apologize.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I got the two maps.
Yep.
I'm looking at the same street.
No, that's true. On the plan, it originally showed East Valley Drive and then Hendershot. But if you're going to make a connection to 4 Mile and Hendershot, for public safety, for addressing, et cetera, it really should be an extension of Hendershot. So the last version of the plans that's going to come in, if the rezoning is successful, the yellow dash will be called Hendershot.
Yeah, Dan, one of our conditions of approval at Planning Commission was to make sure that that is cleaned up, to make sure that it reflects the Hendershot name as well.
Yeah, I see it says East Valley Drive, and I'm just trying to, all right, where's this gonna, I figured that's what it was, but I thought, I wanted to be sure before I voted on it. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Commissioners, questions of Frank, Scott, our developers? You have the opportunity. Any other light you want to shed on this from the Planning Commission meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I can just add that really from our perspective in the planning, on the Planning Commission, the conversation starts and ends with getting that change to add the connection to Hendershot to the plan. That's something that we were talking about aggressively when the PUD came through initially. And it sounded like ultimately where we had landed with that is we'll revisit it when phase 3 comes around. And getting that up front here is, I think, a huge win for us. I think from the connectivity perspective, the enhancements we've made to that intersection, adding another outlet to that Northridge traffic, but also just in general having that is good practice. I think we're glad to see it, and I think that the project will be a big traffic generator. A lot more traffic will be going out onto Fruit Ridge. So as Frank said, the improvements with the traffic signal are a big item that we will certainly have to address. And as we've said many a time, the Fruit Ridge Bridge is something that we're going to have to address. Yep. So I think that the traffic counts will be going up based on not only this project, but others that will be coming in throughout Northridge. And that'll be another ongoing discussion as part of the planning around this area.
Frank, could you go back to the slide that actually had a picture of the houses on either side? What would I would call the Beacon's houses? Yep, so you see the stars. One thing, just consideration to the commission, if you're not aware, the Beacon's properties to the right actually have been sold. So family will be vacating those, and I believe the Linscott property as well, Greg, thank you, has actually been sold to Vista Brothers as well. So those properties, really the residential aspect of it I want to give the context of the rezoning piece. Families have or are in the process of moving out of those anyway because they've sold the property. So just from a rezoning perspective, this isn't an undue burden upon anybody. This is, I think, everybody realizing that growth is warranted and needed in that area to the continuity here to get this squared off. So with that in mind, I'll ask any other questions, comments? Commissioner, you look perplexed. Okay, go ahead.
Do you have any concerns with the safety of it being right by the school? I mean,
I can answer. You want to answer it from the lunch?
I
Okay.
just,
So
it's
we-
relatively new,
No,
that
it's a-
light there, and I just want to know, maybe that's something that you guys have already talked.
So
Pardon?
with Greg Bull from Vista in the room, they've been a great partner in discussions we've had with engineering, cities, the rest of the city staff. And then Frank, Darrell, and I had lunch with the superintendent and finance director from Kennewa about a week, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember it was. And we did talk this. We brought out the plans and said this is going to ask if they had any concerns, and they had none. They were actually excited about the tax base coming in. Not on the not on the 425 side where it doesn't help them, but on this side where it helps them. But had asked, and I want to share and give some credit to Visser Brothers. They were very flexible on, initially there was some talk about maybe some cutouts, what have you, up on the 4 mile end directly across from the west entrance of the high school where there is no signalization. And they actually, that was removed from that in the best interest of safety. So we've had very candid dialogue about what does this look like. And then when you ask the superintendent and the finance director, do you have any concerns about that traffic coming out that light? And they said, no, we're in a good spot.
That was my only major concern.
Yep, no, a good question. Any other from the group?
It's coming together.
Okay. Scott, anything from engineering?
No, I think
Okay.
Frank covered it, all the work's been done. Even since the original FASP and PASP were done, we've made adjustments to the utilities so that they're set up for either option. So if you say yes tonight, we're in good shape. If you say no tonight, we're still in good shape. Pipes are in the ground in both spots.
Greg, from a developer standpoint, any questions, anything we should be aware of for the commission?
No, I think just one more piggyback comment on the traffic. These guys, they're staggered. Most of their busy times are the times that the school won't be busy. So it's 10-ish to 11, 9:30 to 10:30, 11-ish, and then like 7, 6 to 8, something like that. So it's not so much the 8 a.m. or 7:30 when school starts.
I can add on to that, too. National Progressive.
Yep.
It's set up so that the employees there, they're leaving the site after the peak traffic. So ideally, they're not leaving until 9 o'clock. They're actually not coming into the site. Their personal vehicles till 9, and then they get loaded up with their delivery vans and leaving after the peak traffic. So that has a dual benefit both for the traffic out of the street, less impact there, and then those delivery drivers are sitting in traffic less themselves too.
Good, thank you. And I think just, I'm gonna, if I can rewind back, I think we were talking about this, so it was then Mayor Heisingen, a little bit different commission. This was talked about, Scott, I can't think how many years ago. I mean, this has been on the docket for a while, that extension, and to finally see it to come to fruition is a neat thing, but to see I think the right type of development going in there, and not to have, Frank, if you could fast forward to where that extension, the red and yellow lines, please. Thank you. So just to perspective there of the truck traffic that's going to be in Northridge and Walkerview really can get out anywhere between Bristol and Fruit Ridge, not have to be on 3 or 4 mile causing further congestion. So when you talk about the foresight and the strategy behind this, although it's years in the making, this is, sometimes things don't always make sense when you're first doing them, but this is really, I think, the final pieces of the puzzle coming together, and to be able to, eventually, we're going to get the Fruit Ridge Bridge replaced. Yeah, it's, any great ideas with the feds, we're all open to them, so, so, really to be able to get, eventually between Walker and Fruit Ridge, be able to get on to newer bridges, in either spots, get on the highways. We're in a really good spot here, so, I guess I'll ask for a quick, poll here. We'd have to keep, Greg and, Josh and Scott, at this point. Is there any concerns or questions? Well, Scott, you gotta say for the TCOs, but any concerns on the rezoning at this point? Kind of go around the horn here. Not seeing any. Okay.
I just,
Go ahead, Dan.
on the traffic, it's, when you have a road closed and you watch people going to work and everything in the morning and the morning, and the truck traffic, they don't want to be part of that. And
Yeah.
it's like 9 o'clock, 9:30 to 2:30 or so. There's a window there that you'll get, we watch most of the trucks because they don't want to be out there in 5 o'clock traffic or the morning traffic if they can. And so I look at it as they're at their warehouse or wherever getting loaded up, and then they're on the road while, in this case, the kids would be in school.
Yeah.
So
No, I think the
That's-
timing's all gonna work out
I
here.
think it'll be good, and I'm good with this.
Okay. I'm seeing a general consensus here, so Greg, Josh, you guys are free to go. We'll be able to get this one through at the 7 o'clock meeting, so. Good. Thanks again. Appreciate you working with us on this. We are at 6:52. Misty Donato, do you have any words of wisdom you'd like to share, background or anything? Put you on the spot? Okay, all right. Well, let's do this. We'll keep on track here then. I'll start to my left. Let's see what we can get through in commissioner and manager comments then. So, okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, I just wanted to alert everybody, the Waste to Energy Committee, we typically only do budget work in the spring, but we decided as a group that we wanted to have an additional meeting this fall to continue the conversation that we never quite get through about trash and recycling, and really what we can do maybe a little bit better regionally to level some of those costs. So we have that planning meeting coming up this week, so I'll be there for that on Wednesday. And I also wanted to just mention some historical thank yous to our engineering department related to our trail development. We had the annual trail mixer for the West Michigan Trails and Greenways last week, and I was asked to give a testimonial and had the opportunity to talk about how our guys, Scott and Travis and others, were involved in really just starting West Michigan Trails and Greenways Coalition and all the good work that's been done around that, and all the connectors. Particularly, there was some focus on our pedestrian tunnel, which is appreciated across the region. So a lot of good work going on there at the coalition. And if anybody's interested, I'm trying to get something going with the fitness center, and they're doing a challenge, a trail challenge that started September 1st. It's running through December 31st. And it's an opportunity to get out and see all the trails in West Michigan. I'm trying to put together something, like I said, with the fitness center. We might be able to offer some small prizes. Again, Rachel alerted me to some things that are available that we might be able to incentivize people to get out on the trails a little bit. So just working to put all that stuff together, and it's been nice. It's nice getting back to people, So that's all I got.
Thank you. Commissioner Gilbert?
We had a pretty significant planning commission meeting a couple weeks ago. Not only did we move this project that we just discussed forward, but we also approved Chick-fil-A over in Standale. So everyone try to remain calm. Hopefully no major backups regarding the project, but they did get approved in the old German Village location. So keep your eyes out for that.
Awesome.
There be no timing?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Any
About a-
timing?
I don't think we have a specific timeline yet.
1 year. He said about fall.
Of
I
next
know
year?
that was kind
Yeah.
of what we were hearing, but
It's kind of the latest.
Of
He said about
2021.
it 12 months from now is kind of the latest
Okay.
timeline before
Right.
we would see it being done. And if it gets done sooner, but they're pretty on
Yeah.
track.
Okay.
And I really appreciate the extra work. I know Frank went into, we went back and forth because there's like 40 to 50 different designs of Chick-fil-A's in the country. And the one that you found really blends well with that architecture of what we're trying to make Standale into. So I think from that perspective, it's a good thing, so. Be a little brick facade, kind of a story and a half type of look. Not the same old box. We're gonna put it right here and that's it, so appreciate that. From the clerk?
I applied for a $5,000 grant to help with elections, the state came out with. So that's exciting, pretty easy to apply for, so let's hope that they have enough funds for everybody. And our ballots we're waiting for them to arrive, so our plan is to mail the first large mass mailing next Thursday, September 24th, which is the official state requirement for people to mail their ballots. That's it.
Awesome. The only thing I have from my perspective in the last couple minutes, there will be something I'll bring to the commission for discussion next week. Is a gateways discussion that the 6 cities are having right now, and just welcoming to different groups into our communities, and we want to take a unified approach with that. So we are waiting for some more information on that and dialogue, and I think that there's going to be some discussions around that. And I don't know that there's necessarily resolutions, but I think the intent, my understanding, according to the other mayors, Mayor Bliss is leading the charge, is the having this be just a show of support from the mayors that we agree to be a community of welcoming, a gateway, if you will. I'd like to, there's some more details that some of us have asked for, just to understand it better and make sure of what we're approving, so, or signing on, so. That being said, if anybody needs a quick bio break or beverage, we've got a minute or two. And I'll have 2 proclamations. I believe both groups are going to have somebody here. You have the Daughters of the American Revolution, and then we also have the American Legion. I'm going to read both of them because I'll have people here, so if you'll bear with me through those, I'll be as quick and painless as possible.
Gary, those proclamations are nothing compared to reading a state tribute, so.
Try and make it to the point, so.
Yeah.
We're good. I'm sorry, yeah. No, hey, no, we gotta talk about it.
Sure you don't want to stay?
Just want to bang the gap. No. We're good? All right. We'll call our 7 o'clock City Commission meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. What we're going to start off with is invocation from Commissioner Kent. Commissioner Kent, if you would, please.
Shall we pray? Our Heavenly Father, we pray and give thanks to you as we reflect on all the good and beautiful things we have. We pray for the end to coronavirus and healing and comfort for those afflicted. We ask you to watch over our military, our police, fire departments, medical personnel, and everyone serving and helping others. We ask for your guidance in the decisions we make as we strive to make our city a better place to live. Lord, we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. And I'd like to, Commissioner Kent's kind enough, I'd like to deviate a little bit. Typically, our process is the commissioner that has invocation leads us in Pledge of Allegiance. Commander Wilmers, there's a lot of veterans in this room. I think it's a little disingenuous of us to lead the Pledge of Allegiance with all of you present. So if you wouldn't mind, the Allegiant asks if they'd stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll let you lead us off, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And if I could please ask the clerk to call a roll.
Mayor Carey,
Present.
Commissioner Kent,
Present.
Commissioner DeShane,
Present?
Commissioner Heisinger,
Present.
Commissioner Groders,
Present.
Commissioner Glanville,
Present.
and Commissioner Gilbert. Thank you.
And next on the list is the approval of the minutes from the August 24th, 2020 meeting. Is there any discussion on said minutes? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion.
Commissioner DeShane, thank
I'll
you.
second.
Support from Keisinga. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Commission meeting minutes are passed. Next on the list is public comment on agenda items. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on items on the agenda? Going once, going twice. All right, thank you. We'll move on. Next on the list, there are 2 proclamations. I'm going to begin with the Constitution Week proclamation because it starts with our Constitution in this country, and the Legion was formed as a result of that. So I see Sharon in the back of I just saw her out there. So what I'll do for both groups, if this is okay, I'm going to read both of these up here, and then I'll bring them down to both. And if you'll indulge me on this, just because this is a really special week. When you think of the Constitution Week, the Daughters of the American Revolution, of which Sharon is a part of, drove this through Congress in you're going to catch me on this one. I'm thinking back on my date. Thank you. I know it was President Eisenhower. I didn't want to misspeak on the date, but this has been a part, and it's September 17th through September 23rd is Constitution Week, and it started with the proclamation of the Daughters of the American Revolution, getting Congress to pass said resolution. So if you'll indulge me on the reading of this, then I'll come to the Legion next. 2020 Constitution Week. Whereas September 17, 2020 marks the 233rd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this significant document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And the United States Constitution stands as a testament to the tenacity of Americans throughout history to maintain their liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights. And Public Law 15, passed in 1956, guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. I, Gary Kerr, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Walker, do hereby proclaim September 17th through 23 as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution that they had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. And has my in witness whereof on the signatures below. So I believe they had started in 1955, and it took them some time to Congress to get that passed in early 56. So I'll bring that down in just a minute. And then American Legion Post 1111. This is our first one together, one of many, I hope. And for those that don't know, we have shared before, this is our new post in Walker. And I remember meeting probably about a year and a half ago, I think it was, with some of this group in a coffee shop in Standale in the back of the shop and at Wilderness Expressions, and listening to the, hey, we would like to do this and have our own identity and create something bigger and better for the city of Walker and make an impact on the community. So this one's kind of special to me to be able to read, just because it's been a journey we've taken together. So 2020 American Legion Day. On September 16, 1919, the American Legion was granted their federal charter by Congress, and 101 years later, they have kept their commitment to serve not only as a resource and a voice on behalf of veterans across America, but also as an organization dedicated to the betterment of America through community service. And the members of the American Legion are committed to preserving the ideals of freedom and democracy while working to make a difference in the lives of fellow Americans. And the 2020 observance of American Legion Day provides an opportunity to recognize Legionnaires in the city of Walker for their many contributions to our community, and a special recognition and support from the city of Walker is provided to the new American Legion Post 1111 on their recent application approval for their charter as a new post located in the city of Walker. And I, Gary, carried by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Walker, do hereby proclaim September 16, 2020 is American Legion Day in the city of Walker. What's really neat is Commander Wilmers is frequently texting me with ideas, questions, and stuff. How can we impact the community? And we're in that weird time right now with COVID, and there is with a lot of things that we want to do, we're not able to do to make an impact on the community. But I'd like to share with this group, thank you. I know you're meeting, you meet up here at times, and I know you're brainstorming, you're wanting to get after it and help this community. So thank you for your patience, thank you for the drive and energy. I'm excited to, on behalf of the city, to have you here. So just wanted to recognize both. I'll walk these down to you then. And is there either for Sharon, I'll ask you first, from Constitution, from the Daughters of the American Revolution. Is there anything you'd like to share with the group, or are we good?
Well, I'm glad to be in the company of the VFW. We try to support the VFW as much as we can, as many units as we can. So I have a business card if you let us know. We'd like to do whatever we can to help out.
Well, and I think for the Daughters of the American Revolution, for those that aren't history nerds like myself, when you look out to a large rock out on the edge of the parking lot there that used to be further down Remembrance Road, there's a plaque on there, and I want to say it was 1923 or 1928, the day escapes me, or the year I should say, of when that rock was put down Remembrance Road after World War I, and trees were planted on Remembrance Road, and hence its name developed, because at that point it was US 16, I believe, as a road, as it was called. And that plaque out says 1923 or 1928, and the Daughters of the American Revolution, who continue to this day to exist and make a difference, are on that plaque outside. So I think it's kind of a neat little thing. So, and then Commander Wilmers, from Post 1111, thoughts, comments, anything from us?
We're just really excited to get started, because we have been kind of put on hold with everything. We're doing as much as possible from home. We were blessed with the city of Walker doing a can drive, where our total right now, we still have to take all the glass back, over $3,000 from the generosity of the community. We are looking to pack shoeboxes for troops coming up here. So we'll be starting that campaign, and we're looking to work with the Community Engagement Committee and the city to shop a veteran-owned business for Veterans Day, because we can't really do a full Veterans Day service that we wanted to do because of COVID-19. So we're really trying to think outside the box to be able to continue our traditions and also serve the city as well. So.
That's awesome. And I think too, an example of that even is Sunday afternoon, I think some of this group was out filming a video out in our courtyard here on how to properly raise and lower a flag for students.
That's actually where we typically will
That's awesome. Great stuff. Thank you for both groups for the impact you've made on the city for, one definitely coming up on 100 years. Now it'll be that, that plaque has been actually sitting outside, so it's kind of a neat thing. So I'll bring both of these down for the group. Aaron's pulling something out there. Commander, you have that? I'll take that. Everybody in? You see past my big head? Yeah. It's kind of large, so the commissioner's laughing at me. There you be. That's gonna be.
So Mayor Carey, we would like to present you with this plaque from us in recognition of your sincere appreciation and outstanding service to assist us that has contributed to the advancement of American Legion Local 1111 tradition.
That is, wow. 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 Thank you.
Like I think it's-
Okay, now we're gonna get a half hour.
It really is happening, so your eye roll there. Giving it a really good Joe.
I think I have 20 of them.
Good.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Aaron. Jesus, thank you. Appreciate it. Good seeing you again. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. What you gonna do? Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Okay, get Proclamation. There you go. Yeah, thank everyone for coming. Very much appreciate it. Thank you. Good. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay or finish while I'm thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, I know, but that's dedication, right?
Thank you, Commissioners, we appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
All right. Next on our list is Commissioners, thank you for indulging us on that, by the way. For the consent agenda, we have three items. We have the expenditures in the amount of $4,008,947.96. We have the traffic control order of 264, which we discussed at our committee of the whole meeting. Scott, I don't see anybody there to discuss that, so move on from that. And then we have the road maintenance bid approval for, I want to make sure I get it right, I know it's Michigan Paving in the amount of
885.
855, 855, 885, $885,896.84, which was the low bid. So is there any other discussion on those three items? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda, pay the bills.
Motion for Commissioner Kent, support.
I'll support.
Support Commissioner Groders. Any other dialogue discussion? All those in favor, then please say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, consent agenda passed.
Scott, do we have a list of projects on that? Yeah.
It's on the.
Oh, okay. It didn't pull up when I went through the online website, but that might be my fault.
So you've got my iPad or no? Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, so we're there. And then next on the list is the rezoning for the first reading of Resolution 20-514 for the rezoning, as we discussed, for the Northridge, I'll call it delivery station, Visser IPUD rezoning, and the PSAP amendment staff report. So basically, we are approving that rezoning. This will be the first reading of that. Is there any other discussion on this?
You took the ordinance for
Correct.
25-14.
Yep. So if there,
This is first reading, and then
First
we'll
reading.
bring it back for, again, for second reading, yep.
any other discussion on this?
Make a motion for approval?
Okay, Commissioner Gilbert, thank you. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Thank you. Commissioner DeShane, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? First reading of Resolution 20-514 for the rezoning in the Northridge East development is passed. Any other public comment? Nicole D. Nicole K is busy, so we'll let her be. Next on the meeting schedule is a work session next week on September 21st. Outside of that, I think we are good. Any other going once, going twice on the commissioner or manager comments? Anything else? And I bypassed you earlier, so last but not least. Y'all hear about this tomorrow too, so that's all right. Okay, cool. Thank you. And thank you for all your work